what's up, world? It's Silly Girl Carmen. We're back with another episode of Wonderful, and I'm happy to be meeting and speaking with our lovely guest for July, Val Fleury. How are you doing today?
I'm so good. Nice to meet you. Nice to be speaking with you as well.
Yes, nice to meet you for the first time. Congrats on your release. I know you're in the midst of pushing new music, so that's always exciting.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yes. So tell us the name of the song too, the new project.
Yes, so my name is Val Fleury. I'm a DJ producer from Monrovia, Liberia. And yeah, I've just been releasing music. I'm on a roll this year. The third one just came out. The plan is five. So technically it came out on June 14th here during Black Music Month. And it's just been going and I'm really happy. So yeah.
Nice, nice. Is it a single right now or is it a full project that you pushed recently?
So this is a single.
Okay.
Technically, it's the singles that I have for 2024. The others were PST that came out in April, and then Statues came out in February of 2024. So there's going to be five
Nice.
total.
Okay, dope. I love that. It's always very fulfilling for creatives. I know when we have stuff in the bag ready to go, we've been working on stuff and it's ready. That's always exciting.
So yeah, it's part of a whole series, and this is just number three of many to come.
Nice. And where are you currently based?
Right now, I'm based between Philadelphia and New York. I lived in Los Angeles for 11 years. It's like near and dear to my heart, but I'm a citizen of the world. I've lived in, Europe, I've lived in Africa, I lived in the Americas, but my heart is always in West Africa and Liberia.
Nice. That's great. Well, that's really cool that you get to have a lot of different perspectives of the world coming from a different background, being here. That's really cool. So we're gonna jump right into it. I want to know what came first for you in your journey as an artist. Were you always creating music? Was that the first route, or were you a DJ first? How did it come about for you?
Great question. I was creating music in different forms. So I've been in bands like the whole Warped Tour scene. I was playing guitar in a band back in the day. I was in like school band for chair clarinet. I had a radio show in college. I used to make mixtapes off of the radio for friends and family. So I've always been in music in some capacity since I was a child. And it really started off by being like the middle child and only girl in a really large, loud Liberian family. And it was like my thing where everyone was kind of like into sports or like business, and like international politics or whatever. And I was like, I needed to stand on my own and like find my own way. And even though I was always good at those other things that my family were involved in, like I fell in love with music and I made it my thing since childhood.
Nice. I love that. That's really cool. How may I ask, how big of a family? How many siblings? How many people?
Oh, wow. My mother is like the oldest or one of the oldest of 20. And the same thing for my dad. He's about the oldest of 12. So it's just people,
Wow.
people on people on people. And funny because we're all named after each other.
Wow.
So yeah, like we all have the same names and we're all like named after each other. And it's just one large, loud community.
That's amazing. Yeah, I don't know if I've heard those numbers
Yeah.
in sibling numbers. That's amazing. Very cool. So, with your new project, or just now that I know that you're releasing throughout the whole year and have stuff lined up, what's the inspiration and motivation? Well, we'll talk about your current one. It's called Technically. Is that the
Yes.
new? Okay. So,
Yeah.
what's the inspiration and motivation of creating that? Like, what sparked you in that process?
Yeah, so my whole mission, not my whole mission, but a large part of who I am and what I stand for is reclaiming, electronic music for Black and Brown folks who are the pioneers and truly the lifeblood of the culture, of the scene, of the industry, whether or not we get the recognition that we deserve. The fact is still the facts. And so it's just been a pleasure and an honor of mine to be not only a Black person, but a Black woman in this space. And so all of my sound that you hear is just an intersection of house, techno and my West African roots because my family moved to the States when I was younger. Unfortunately, our country had a civil war. We had two civil wars within like 20 years. And, coming to the States and just hearing this music, I'm like, what is this? And it's just like house music, it's techno, a lot of hip hop and R&B. But I was just like so drawn to the electronic music, one, because it was so different, but at the same time, so similar. When you hear, the drum patterns and a lot of the production of electronic music borrows a lot from African influences. So I was like, this is so familiar, yet so new and different at the same time. It really, really drew me in. And not having to choose, like, are you American and on the house music tip, or are you like African and or first generation and you're listening to, Afro boogie, Afro grooves, Afro funk, things like that, that my aunties and my mom and them grew up on and I grew up listening. So to all of it is me very much so being American and being Liberian. And so just even diving into the history of this music, like initially people would make fun, oh, you love like white boy stuff. Oh, you love like white music. And I'm like, this is blackity black.
Yeah, right.
Like, are you kidding me? Like Detroit techno and Chicago house. This is authentically as black as it can be, black and brown and queer, and a lot of marginalized communities that are beautiful and creative and open. And that's why I love it so much. So as you're asking me about the song technically, well, that's because like technically electronic music is for BIPOC. It's by BIPOC. Not to say that it's exclusive to only these populations and these communities, but like it's for everyone. Indeed, it's for everyone. It should be for everyone, like most things in the world. But just wanting to honor and celebrate
Right.
electronic music being pioneered and driven by BIPOC in the queer community. So technically, it is what it is.
Nice. I love that. That's always it's cool because I know this is an ongoing conversation and I've been asked in interviews too how I feel about like, the direction and representation of the music being from Black creatives and stuff like that. And I think it's always good to just I think the sometimes we can't battle, like, oh, is the history being told? Sometimes it's like sometimes we just need reminders like this, like put it in the art. Like that's great, It's just like keep it going. You're a Black creative, you're making your music like it just is, it's the story. So I think that's great to see that in your music and yeah, hopefully people receive it and love it. I'm sure they will.
Yes,
Um,
for the most part, it has been that. I've seen one or two pushbacks,
really?
webs by trolls and things like that, but it doesn't
Yeah,
bother me and it doesn't change the facts. So, yeah.
exactly. No, yeah, we need more truth and facts in the music and yeah, people will take it how they can.
I think that's one of
Um,
the beauties of music too, though. You asked me like how I got into it and just being like this polar, feeling like a polar figure sometimes growing up. Music was the one thing that got people together, right? It's normally food and music. And if you can have both, that's like the best.
yeah.
But but you ever see people and like they're from different countries or different socioeconomics and you put on a song and they're all singing the lyrics or the
Yes.
humming to the melody and you're like, man, when else in the world in space and time would these people be united in this way? And again, food and music. So that's why I decided to choose the medium that I chose with music and being able to tell and celebrate this story.
Nice. I love that. Yeah, that's a great perspective of why I always think about that like reflecting for myself and I like to ask people like what's your intention or going into it or what drives you and that really does sum it up. It's a connector. Can take you anywhere in the world because everybody needs to have that moment through music. So, I love that. Do you have already in mind a dream music collab or a dream back-to-back DJing? Who would be
Oh,
somebody?
wow. I mean, I think of all of the legends, and we're so fortunate in electronic music, right? Like we're one of the only genres where like a lot of our legends are still alive. Unlike classical music or rock and roll or jazz and blues, like electronic
Right.
music is more so one of the younger genres. And like, man, if I could be in like Paradise Garage, New York City with Larry Levan or like Frankie Knuckles or one of those guys in Warehouse in Chicago or Detroit, that would be a dream. Unfortunately, Larry Levan and Frankie are no longer with us, but if I was to choose somebody right now, it would definitely be, let's say, Honey Dijon. Um,
Hmm.
She's just a queen for me and for many people. The list is really long, but if I could choose somebody here and now, it
Yes.
would be Honey Dijon. So,
Okay, nice. I could see that. That's obviously, yeah, like you said, a queen for many people. Like, yeah, everybody would want to get in on that.
perhaps like Dennis Farrar. I also love him too.
Yes,
Yes.
lots of classics there. So we're gonna wrap it up with one more question. What is some of the best advice you've ever received on your journey, or maybe the best wisdom you've kind of gained in your own reflection that you would share with someone else about the music, DJ, or just life? Any wisdom that's helped you along the way?
Oh, wow. What a great question. So, for me, I would say kind of two things that come up to mind right now. One is, representation really matters. And again, I'm in an industry where even though it's by people of color, there's not a lot of representation right now. It's getting better. It's getting much better indeed. I won't deny that. But it's okay to be the first or one of the only. And a lot of times you're scared, but to do it anyways, like it's a human condition, fear, love, but still do it anyways, even if you're afraid and you're the only one and no one else looks like you or sounds like you in the room. A lot of times I am that, and I look around my shoulder and then there's more coming, right? So
Mhm.
just kind of being that beacon of light and optimism and representation for people in spaces and making that space. Also, one of the things, if I can be a little bit more vulnerable right now, is like, with this growth in my career and what I'm doing has come recently a lot of pain, and as positive as I am, there's a lot of trials and tribulations right now, as well as the great things. And sometimes people don't talk about that. And it's really important to acknowledge the humanity of it all. Even when
Mhm.
you are, someone that people look up to and you're going your way. But yeah, it's okay to not be okay sometimes, to ask for help and just take a moment for yourself. And sometimes when people don't necessarily see eye to eye or not on your team, let them say what they want to say, let them do what they want to do, and just keep on the straight and narrow and stay focused and live your life, mind, peace of mind and ease and all those great things.
Nice. Yeah, I think yeah, I enjoyed both of those messages. And I think, like you said, that's very true that a lot of times, especially for new people that be like, oh, I want to travel, I want to DJ, it looks exciting and fun. There's a lot of other ins and outs, and it's can be
Absolutely.
cutthroat dealing with people. It can be draining, it's finding your personal balance. So I think that's very relatable, and hopefully more people like we get to see different sides of that reality, because we're all just human, we're all still on the hustle, like it's a lot goes into it. So that's definitely good advice.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, well, we thank you so much for coming on here. Excited for people to get into your music and hear your mix. I started listening to the mix myself, and I was like, okay, you had some deep building and vibes in there. So I'm like, I can't wait to finish listening to the mix. It was sounding really good. And congrats on all your releases this year. I'll be on the lookout for those, and we hopefully can connect in somewhere in real life in the
Absolutely.
future.
I would love that. And until then, I'm online everywhere, SoundCloud, Instagram, you name it, as I am Val Fleury. I am Val Fleury. So I'll catch you guys on the interwebs until I can see you in person.
Yes, thank you.